family. We're at Just That Honey Tea Company, a wonderful cafe and retail shop in Atlanta, Georgia, owned by Auntie Brandi Shelton, aka the Tea Lady. Howdy, Brandi. How are you?
I'm so good, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for letting me come here today so that we can build this platform to house this very important intergenerational conversation.
I'm excited to talk about all the wonderful things that we're going to discuss today. And then we have your tea today. Yes. Can we talk about that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so tell me about what you thought about when you were blending this tea.
I thought about, first of all, I just said, this is going to taste so good. I know it. And I was just thinking about how can I incorporate light, flowery, beautiful flavors into the tea.
Perfect. So it's a combination of jasmine, and the jasmine that we use, it's a green tea, and with the green tea, there's jasmine flowers and jasmine pearls in it. So it's a 3-layered approach to jasmine. So it's a beautiful floral tea, and then we added butterfly pea flower, which means it's blue. It'll turn out this beautiful blue hue to match the color of your book.
Yay, I'm so excited.
And then we have a little bit of vanilla simple syrup to kind of give it a little chef's kiss. So you ready for me to make some while we talk?
I'm ready.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect. And so I'm just gonna, I don't have a spoon, so because it's just us, I'm going off the rails. I'm going rogue here. And then I brought some hot water with green tea. It does not like boiling water. The water needs to be a little bit cooler so that you don't burn your tea leaves. So this has been cooling for a little while, so now it's the perfect temperature. All right, and so I'm gonna make sure it's super blue because In the Wind's a great book, and it's like in the clouds, in the wind. So let's put a little blue in there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pour some. You ready to see it?
Okay.
It's happening.
It's happening.
You see it turning blue?
It's going.
It's going.
I see it. Oh my goodness.
All right. So that's one surprise. I also, just recently, I met a young lady. She's a nurse, and she knows about you, and so she this year created her own book of herself for herself. She's from Louisiana, and she has a son that's 16 that's a jazz player. He plays the trumpet, and so yesterday she finally wrote her book. Like, you are inspiring people, and so this is the book. I brought it for you. It's called Alphabet Gumbo, and it's a little girl's journey through the alphabet of Louisiana. And so, like, A is for alligator, but I love G. H is for honey, like just that, honey.
That's so
and
cool.
So it's all these cool different alphabets. And then, let me show you J. I don't remember my alphabet. J is for jazz. That's her son playing the trumpet.
Wow.
And so it's super, super cool. I just love it. And so there's a little bit about her too. And so she's from Baton Rouge. And so, she was like, I told her that I was meeting you, and she was like, oh my gosh, I know who Bailey is. And so she's one of your followers. And so I have this book for you. So hang on to it, and know that, like, you are inspiring generations old and young to live out their best dreams and live out their affirmations. So
thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
love this.
You're welcome. That was like my auntie gift to you.
Oh, thank you. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, so what are we talking about today?
So my first question is, what does it mean to be a lady?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question. What does it mean to be a lady? I think the lady is the internal part. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and so I took etiquette classes, and I was a debutante, and I was taught like all the tea etiquette and where you put your bread and where you put your glass and what silverware and where your napkin's supposed to be. And I think that's lady-like behavior, but I think a lady is something that's inside of you, and it's something that's super personal, and it's something that you are, not something you necessarily do. So the having confidence is very ladylike. Being able to own who you are, like all the parts of you, like the parts that you love and then the parts that you kind of sometimes wish could be a little different, but owning all of that, I think that's being a lady. How you carry yourself, how you speak to others, how you pour into your community. I think all that is lady-like modeled behavior versus, where you put your purse and blah, 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 all that stuff. While that's ladylike behavior, I think modeling the ladylike attitude is from the inside.
I love that, just presenting yourself from the inside instead of trying to be something that people told you is being a lady.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I love that.
You gave a better, shorter answer than I did.
No, your answer was great. Your answer was better than mine.
Look at it turning blue.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Awesome.
Wow. But yeah, I really like that because that's a cool perspective. Don't always focus on what people say that ladies do, but what ladies are.
Yes, exactly. You should put that in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
A lady is who you are, not what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should do this. How do I change the world?
Ooh. That's like, how do you microwave the ocean, So how do you change the world? I think goes back to the lady perspective, right? How do you model what you want to see? How do you model what you want your community and the people around you to be? So it's by example, it's how you support others, things that you believe in. Like when I first met you, you're changing the world, and maybe one page at a time or one word at a time, but just modeling that amazing behavior or speaking things to existence. I think that's like how you change the world. Also, like I tell my kids, love is an action word. So if you love somebody, what you do, that action is the love. So if you love your community, you're not gonna throw trash on the ground, or you're not gonna rush through things, or you're gonna speak to your neighbor. And so those are like taking little droplets and filling your teacup versus thinking that you have to do the whole world, because the world can be your community. The world is the things around you. And so filling your teacup with little droplets of love and respect and concern, and not necessarily looking left or right, because what you may love for your world may be different than your neighbor, and respecting that your neighbor is doing their part to change the world too, And so controlling what you can change versus what everybody can change, because it can seem daunting if you're not careful, right? So yeah.
My parents tell me the world is a small place.
You might know. Wow, yes. Yeah.
My parents tell me you might know somebody who knows somebody that you know who knows somebody that you wish you knew. So the world is a tiny place in that perspective, that everyone is connected to somebody.
Right.
So the world is made up of tiny, tight-knit communities that all form one big thing that we call the world. But at the end of the day, you have to work in that community, work in your small community, and then you can start to affect others, and then that one will affect another. It's not about you changing everything, it's about you changing one thing, and people will see that, and then they'll go and continue to change.
I love that. It's almost like being a light, right? Because when you shine light on something, you're able to like a little spark.
Right, it bounces off.
It bounces off, right? And it casts like rainbows all around. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
How can I be like you when I grow up?
Oh gosh. Let me pour a cup of tea for that. Hold on. Ladies first.
Wow, that is so blue.
It's so
It looks like my book.
It totally does. And then you can add as much simple syrup as you want. Go easy. Don't go simple syrup crazy.
Wow, it is beautiful.
It is. Oh my gosh. You blended this yourself, you know that, right?
Yeah.
I know.
I'm so proud of myself.
Oh my. So then look, there you are. You're just like me. You're a tea lady.
Oh my gosh. That's so blue.
I know. I love it. Okay, you ready? May I pour you a little?
Yes,
A
thank you.
spot of simple syrup?
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to do a little.
It turned it purple.
See? It's turning, yeah.
How did it do that?
Isn't that cool?
That is so cool.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's kind of delicious, kind of amazing. I almost like want to put it on the shelves and call it like we can call it in the wind. We can put it on the shelves and call it in the wind. Okay, we'll talk about that offline. Okay. Okay, so tell me your question again.
How can I be like you when I grow up?
Okay, may I ask a little context? Like me specifically, or like me, your auntie?
No, just kind of like, how can I follow your roadmap? Like, what was the thing that took you through life, and how can I follow that and use that as an example for my life?
Oh, that's a great question. So my life was not like a straight path. It was very like curvy and windy if I think about how I arrived here. But I don't think like life is a straight road map. And if I stayed straight, one, it'd be a little bit boring. And then two, you miss out on all the beautiful, like even the way I go home. I take the scenic route home whenever possible because there's so much beauty in the world. And so that's what our life is, like all the beauty in our lives. So if I went the straight and narrow path, I would miss out on all the beautiful things. I went to school for biomedical engineering, which is insane, right? I thought I wanted to be a prosthetic surgeon. Because when you graduate from high school, the first thing you hear is like, go to college, right? And so I went to college. And I loved college. I went to a historically black college and university called Xavier University in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and loved it. And then I moved here because I thought I wanted to go to Georgia Tech to continue my studies in engineering. And what happened? I got a part-time job at a bank, and then they promoted me, and I went from part-time to full-time to a manager. And then from that, I decided to go back to school for fashion design, more school. And then while I was in school for fashion design, I went to study abroad. And in London, I fell in love with tea, not knowing, like, if you look back at my roadmap, I grew up drinking tea. I grew up drinking sweet tea on Sundays, or if I had a tummy ache, I had peppermint, you know, or if I didn't feel so good, I would get another tea that my grandmother would make me. So I fell in love with tea, and so I was like, how do I bring this back to the States? So I started making tea for friends, and then I kept showing up for tea, and tea kept showing up for me. Then I started doing festivals, and then I started doing trade shows, and then we opened retail. And so it's been a journey. I will tell you, I might have not listened all the time to my parents at the moment, but their words always resonated with me when it was important. So I said my prayers all the time. I would like take the windy road, but I never stopped. You know, even in the journey, you can easily go off on a side road or take a detour, but I never took shortcuts. because that was something my parents told me, don't take shortcuts in life. And I never stopped moving. So even though it might not have been the road that they wanted for me, I put one foot in front of the other and kept going. And so I think that part is something valuable maybe you can take with you. Not necessarily to be like me, but the roads or the journeys that we're taking, not being afraid to, or not being so hard on yourself that you're not taking the road. Like my sister's a judge. Like she sits on a court and she's a lawyer. And if I used her roadmap, I don't think I would have, I wouldn't be here today. So my roadmap was mine and hers is hers. So just taking your own path, but keeping going one foot at a time.
Yeah, I love that bit about not taking shortcuts, because we often see the road of life as in general just daunting. Like, what? I can't do that. But once we take a second to really realize that it might not be as daunting as you think, then we can take one step. But then we see all these shortcuts that maybe our friends are taking or other people around us are taking. They're taking all these shortcuts. Oh, hey, you can just go the easy way and you'll be rich tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right, but the goal is to not give in to that.
Totally. Yeah. I don't even take it on. I mean, it drives my husband crazy sometimes. Don't tell him I told you that. But I don't even take shortcuts on the road. I won't cut on a side street to get to where I'm supposed to go. Just because yes, it may save me a few minutes, but ultimately part of life is the experience. Part of life is the journey. Part of life is the scenic route. And if you're always, or if you do it for everything, then you'll miss out on all the wonderful things that the world or God has for you, because you didn't go the path that was yours. You went the short route, So.
Yeah. And I think that's important. Understanding that the shortcuts, although they may save you a few minutes, it's about having delayed gratification, the ability to be able to wait for what you want and to get where you want to go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you wear all these different hats and still have a balanced life?
I'm still working on that. If I'm 100% honest, I do have several hats. I own a business. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I have a couple of mentees, so I'm a mentor. I teach as well sometimes, so I'm a teacher. Oh gosh, now that you're asking me to name all my hats. But I don't, sometimes I can wear one or two or three, but I try not to wear them all at the same time. And then to your point about the shortcuts, if I'm always taking shortcuts, I'm also missing out on lessons, right? So sometimes I'm taking a shortcut because I wasn't prepared in the beginning, or I'm taking a shortcut because I'm trying to get technically to where somebody else is. So I wear my own hat, just like I'm taking my own path. And so when I'm with my kids, I put my phone down. And I'm 100% present for them and enjoy their time. And I even teach that to my employees. So they know not to call after a certain time or message me, or they can. I tell them I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just telling you how I'm going to respond. So if I do not respond to any messages after 8 o'clock, and so that's that hat. And then there's certain days. So on a Monday, I know I can be several things to several people. But then on a Tuesday, we have Taekwondo at 6 o'clock. So at 5:45, I'm cutting it off because my attention is I'm wearing my mommy hat. Or my husband and I have day dates when the kids are in school. So once a week, we go on a date while they're in school. And we might walk to the park, or we might grab a late lunch, or we have kayaks now, so we'll go kayaking when the weather's nice. And so when I'm the white hat, I turn my phone on silent. I try to turn my phone on silent so that I'm not wearing any other hats.
Yeah.
But the important part is like knowing what hat you're wearing and preparing your day for that. So I have a planner and I know what hats I'm wearing for today, or this hour I'm this hat and this hour I'm this hat. So it helps me set myself up for success, because I know at one time I did not do that, and I always felt like I was all over the place, and also wasn't like giving that person that respect. So like it would be rude for me to like meet with you and like look at my phone, you know? And so I want to be 100% present with you. And so that is like the respect that I'm giving to the other person in addition to myself.
It's like scheduling. Like I find myself when I'm homeschooling, I find I need a dedicated schedule.
Totally.
Or I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that is not a good feeling. So I try to always make sure, okay, what am I doing today? I'm doing this. I'm done for the day. Okay. I do this, and this. So I know what I'm doing.
And you can even schedule play, like, you know, scheduling a fun time.
Yeah.
Or scheduling a nap. Oh, naps are so valuable.
I know. I'm about to start taking naps. I told my mom, like, I don't want to take naps. I don't take naps. But I might have to start, because...
If you want to be like me, then naps are like required. Not every day. Now, that's a little excessive. But having a little 30-minute nap, it's like, it gets you going.
I find that naps make me, like, sweat. All the sweat just comes out of my body and says, woohoo, we're about to have a sweat party. And it just comes out without notice. And I always find myself to be like slightly damp.
Okay, so then maybe not so much a nap, but maybe a reset time. How about maybe instead of calling it nap time, call it reset time?
Yeah, like read a book. Like I love reading.
I love reading too, but lately reading makes me sleepy, so I've been listening to audiobooks lately.
I would think that would make you sleepy.
No, it depends on whose voice it is, but most audiobooks are so good.
Well, I'm not going to start reading audiobooks then.
There you go. How's your tea?
It's good.
It is so good.
It's so
you did an
good.
excellent job. And it's like a beautiful color too. I'm enjoying it.
Like
Thank
mine was
you so much.
deep blue and looked like it has two colors.
I know.
It's purple and blue.
I know.
You see that, guys? That's amazing. That's amazing.
That is amazing. Our In the Wind blend.
It tastes like the book. I can taste the book in it.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
A little floral. Perfect. Oh, great job.
So, just so you know, the auntie concept is basically the dynamic between an aunt and her niece as they have a generational conversation over tea. The tea is meant to represent the bridge between the young and the old, and represents the young sitting at the feet of their elders and learning from them and taking lessons from them.
I love this. I love this.
I love it too.
Awesome.
And that's just meant to have that young person, the niece in this case, to be able to learn from the aunt, and the aunt to be able to spend time with her niece. I find that in today's modern world, children and adults are separated. Kids play together, adults play together. So what we're trying to do with this Auntie series is bring adults and kids back together and create that village again. So recreate that village that we're supposed to be in, and that sense of, well, if I have a problem, I can always go to my grandma, or if I have a problem, I can always go to my aunt.
I love that. I love that. So what does that mean?
Well, that means having those elders present.
Okay.
So bringing those elders back into focus, bringing those older people back into focus, bringing that knowledge back into the picture. That's what it's about.
I love that. And then over a cup of tea, it's
Yeah.
perfect. Because I even, we have a magazine that we do quarterly called How We Sip. And so it talks about how people around the world sip. And so often I was traveling to India and Kenya and Morocco and China and Japan. And there's so many beautiful generations right here in the US. So like I had with Sunday dinner, I had sweet tea. Or if you go to South Carolina, you know, you have a type of tea. My husband is from Massachusetts. He had tea without sugar. Boring. But he had his type of cup of tea. My aunt actually, she would make something called Mississippi mud, and it was unsweetened tea and orange juice. And so you can imagine the colors look like Mississippi mud, and the flavor was delicious. But I did, you know, I took that for granted, not knowing like in hindsight the whole base of it was tea. And it's not just the cup itself, it's like slowing down a little bit. The connection between two people, or the connection that you have back to yourself. So this Auntie series is going to be something phenomenal. I'm so excited for you.
I'm so excited. I find that tea is not really about the beverage. It's about the experience that comes with it. The beverage is just a casualty of that experience, but the experience is elegance, it's opulence, it's taking a second to let the world slow down in your eyes. But that's what that's about. My mentors are successful and their advice is valuable. Thank you, Auntie Brandi. This was amazing. I had a great time.
No, thank you. You were a gift today. So thank you for having me in your Auntie series, and I get to sip my in the wind tea with you.
Yes. I just appreciate you letting me come here today so that we could have this really important conversation and do this good and start up this series and do this good thing.
Yes.
For all the little girls out here.
Yes, I look forward to seeing it all the time. So.
Me too. I'm just going to turn it on every morning.
There
I go.
Exactly. Because I think, with the series, I learn from you as you learn from me,
Yeah, definitely.
So I think your guests will have a lot of valuable information.